What's up guys, it's Jughead here, just a down-to-earth guy trying to bring you all some down-to-earth content. Welcome back to my Let's Watch Hunter x Hunter series. Today we're going to be watching episode 19 called Can't Win and Can't Lose. Now in the last episode, episode 18, we finally left Zevil Island, and the people that are completed are a group of 4, Izoka, Gitarocker, the Old Man, Hanzo, and Paco, I believe. And while they were on the airship, Chairman Netero did an interview series asking questions to each of the participants, and we found out that was in order for him to set up a tournament bracket of sorts. As he said, the final phase is going to be a peculiar fight. So in this episode, and actually I saw in the YouTube comments someone said that the next 2 episodes are going to be very crazy and like super entertaining, so I'm very excited about that. So I'm assuming this episode, especially if it's titled Can't Win, Can't Lose, is we're seeing the fight and we're going to see how this all plays out. Especially the interesting fact of how Chairman Netero said, if you win, you automatically become a hunter. So that's going to be super exciting. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. So, let's watch Hunter x Hunter episode 19, Can't Win and Can't Lose, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's play. Okay, these 2 next episodes are supposed to be amazing, so I'm excited. Also, you'll see I rearranged my setup so you're looking more deep into my room and not... I feel like there's just a better image back here. You get to see more of my room and stuff, so that's why I didn't upload or anything, because I couldn't record because I took my entire setup apart to put it back together. The show is very loud in my ears right now, but I'm too far away to change the volume. Yep, we only have 9 people left. Actually, I am going to change the volume. It's very loud. There we go. This place is all yours until the battles have concluded. One-on-one tournament. Kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball. So only the last person standing passes. That is a confusing ass bracket. 1 win is all you need to pass. The winners are removed from competition while the losers continue up the bracket. Oh, that's super interesting. Wow. Yeah, making an even 8, even number. That's super interesting. That's why I was so confused about how the tournament could possibly be set up. I didn't think that it would be flipped. That the longer you stay in the tournament, the worse. That's super interesting. Ooh, GON versus Hanzo? Hell yeah, that'll be cool. I want to see how this guy actually fights. I honestly want to see how GON actually fights. I didn't see. Is Kurapika going up against Izoka? I didn't see. Ooh, that'll be interesting. But some people, like 294, 405, get 5 chances. Ooh. This bracket was assembled based on your performance throughout the exam. Simply put, those who perform better receive more chances. Ooh, okay. Oh yeah, because everybody likes GON. During the questions, I would imagine. Yeah, explain the methods. Physical strength, mental acuity, and overall impression. The overall impression was from the questions, right? Interesting, interesting, interesting. Yeah, they've been watching this entire time. Yeah, once you look at the flashback of everything Gon has done, it's like, yeah, obviously he gets his 5 chances. Any intangible factors that can't be categorized? Like what? Oh. The opinions of your peers. Yeah, your performance on your test should be ranked higher. But nobody has any good impressions of you, really. Only like 2 people, right? Weapons are allowed? If you kill your opponent, you'll be immediately disqualified. Okay, so Hisoka, listen up. So, do you become a hunter, or you just pass? I'm confused. As in, like, okay, Kurapika versus Hisoka. I want to see both of them become hunters. So, if, like, Kurapika wins, he's just a hunter right then and there, because he's already won and he's out. That's what I'm confused about. Hanzo versus GON. This will be cool. I want to see this. It'll be cool to see everybody match up one-on-one. The only one-on-one fight we've really seen is Hisoka versus GON. Like, Hisoka versus Leorio is, like, not even fair. Plus, everybody else gets to see their strengths. Masta. That's what I always think is interesting too. When you know all the other characters get to see everybody's strengths. Ooh, so Gon didn't even notice. Nice. Can only win if our opponent surrenders, correct? It doesn't count if we knock them unconscious. No TKOs allowed either. Gon will never surrender. Yeah, that could be difficult because Gon is not gonna call Uncle. Yeah, strength and speed I'm not worried about. I'm like the fact that Hanzo might have weapons is interesting. See, yeah, just the fact that everybody's gonna be watching it happen. Because, like, Gon versus Hisoka both times, nobody saw that happen. But now they get to see Gon, like, the super speed. Yo! Bruh. Dude, that was badass. Ooh, ow. I can almost tell this shit's gonna get more serious now. I kind of want it to stop being as lighthearted. See, now Kaluuya's gonna be getting jealous and everything. Don't fracture your relationship. You should be able to see why you were ranked lower than Gon. He's helping him. He's playing those mental games. The boy has a concussion. Ooh, that's true. No, he's not going to want to do that, though. I never really thought about that too. It almost helps to wait until maybe you'll face a worse opponent, you know? Like, he already has to go up against Hanzo. What if he goes up against Pakal if he loses? That's such an easier fight, in my opinion. I also like... the old man was like, I would never fight children. I would never fight children. Hanzo is like, I'm gonna punch this kid in a kidney shot. Leorio's emotionally invested because if GON's out for the count, he can't make it up to him. The chairman's mean streak is in a class all by itself. Yeah, they're unlikely to just surrender because they have that mentality. They're so devoted, like they don't want to give up. They've made it this far. Yeah, this is beyond a peculiar fight. You can't kill your opponent. You can bring them right on that edge. The old man don't even fucking care. That old man doesn't give a fuck, man. Jesus. Straight-faced. Wasn't intimidated by Hisoka at all, just completely ignored him. And is just chill about seeing a kid get beat the fuck up. Honestly, I would say better to quit this first round. But when you look at the row, it's like 3 of the guys you don't want to face. So what the fuck are you going to do? That's the only guy you would want to face. Or him. Oh, Jesus Christ. But I do have... I'm not even mad at Hanzo. Like, it's the point in the game. It's like inside the rules. So I'm not even mad at Hanzo. Or like not even like disliking his character. If anything, I respect it. Come on, GON. This ain't nothing. Yeah, what if Hanzo gives up? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. This is actually, like, torture. Please do something... Bruh, what the fuck just happened? Did he actually break his arm? Oh, God. Jesus Christ, man. Come on, bruh, don't do anything. It's him going back to that, ooh, the scarlet eyes coming out. Of the shinobi. From birth. The art of ninpo. 18 years. So he's 18 years old. I have trained my body and technique without rest. By the time I was your age, I had already killed. He's not bragging. Go one finger, bro. Now go no fingers. Levitate. Oh! Hell yeah. Fucking respect. Hell yeah. Oh, we love GON. If you're 18, you're only 6 years older than I am. This isn't a battle to see who's stronger. It's a battle to see who's willing to surrender first. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I honestly kind of respect Hanzo. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bruh. What the hell? Okay, I'm back to being I'm back to being scared. Jesus Christ. I forgot weapons are allowed. Look at that fat ass in the back. Oh man, this guy has a short temper. This guy's not used to this. Ooh. GON with the 500 IQ. Hanzo can't fight the way he wants to fight. Exactly. You can't help but be impressed. So why did the brutal atmosphere from before suddenly get so much lighter? It's because everybody's on GON's side now. Everybody's kind of cheering for GON. Yo, he just stood there because he knew he couldn't kill him. You might not make it though. As nimble as you are mentally, you lack combat skills. It's already been 3 hours. In the end, this is super interesting. So much to like mentally unpack here. A lot of stuff to think about while you're trying to catch up with all the action, you know? It's not just a sentence. It's going against your entire character. Dude, that straight face. He isn't gonna want to do it. Dad is a hunter. I'm gonna become a hunter just like him and meet him. Hell yeah. He gives up now, he'll never find him. Yep. He has higher motivations than Hanzo does. Hanzo's there to showcase his strength. He's there because it means everything to him. Oh, I thought he was about to push back on the blade. Exactly. He can go on to the next person. He'll find someone else with a weaker mindset, someone he's willing to kill. Exactly. Come on, dude, just take the W. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. A game of fucking chess. Who cares? Exactly. Yeah, that would make every fight coming up meaningless. Because everybody else would pass. Only one person loses, so if he's gone, GON's victory has been assured. That was actually very interesting. There's a lot to unpack with how I want to get this discussion going. If this is how every fight's going to be, that's going to be insane, because this was only GON and Hanzo. Jesus Christ. So, let's discuss. Now I understand the meaning behind the title of the episode. Can't win, can't lose. The whole tournament is set up so complex and interesting. Like, reaching the end of the tournament, being the only one remaining in this format, you're not the winner, you're the loser. Getting knocked out of the tournament as quickly as possible is actually what you want, but you have to think extra hard about how you want to play this out, how you want to play the tournament out, because there's just so much to think about when you're going into, like, if you were going to place yourself in real life, if you were presented with this tournament format, it's just, man, and the tournament is so fucked up. Like, Netero is a psychopath, but it's necessary to find those truly worthy of being a hunter. So I understand why it was set up like this. So the first thing I'll say is I actually really love how this show and this series is not fight-centric. Every time we have gotten a fight or a duel between characters, it's never this like Dragon Ball Z level fight. Instead of the fights or the face-offs are all like full of meaningful dialogue, symbolism, archetypal storytelling. I actually prefer that. Instead of just hearing yelling, screaming, grunting, and fists flying, they're just like beautifully written and have you falling more deeply immersed into the story and every character. Like, I can imagine there are many people who go into Hunter x Hunter expecting elaborately choreographed battles and fights, and you don't really get that. But I'm not saying that in a negative way, because that's almost shallow. Like, present us with more. Like, plenty of other battle shonens have that, so go watch that if you're interested in that. To me, parts of Hunter x Hunter almost tread the line between shonen and seinen, just in my opinion, of course. But like, thinking of every fight that has occurred thus far, the main ones, Gon versus Ozoka, all the Trick Tower fights, especially Kurapika versus Majtani, and Killua versus Johannes, Gon and Hisoka Part 2, and now Gon and Hanzo right here. There is action. Like, we are very clearly witnessing great action and animation take place, but it is the words spoken between the movements, the tension created by means of beautiful dialogue and atmosphere, the symbolism and emotional weight that all comes together to really shine through over the flying fists and kicks and shiny weapons being drawn, you know? And this episode is easily my favorite of the Hunter exam arc so far, like no contest. And I still have episode 20 to watch after this, which I was told episode 19 and 20 are just like, get ready, get insane. So I'm excited for that. But we're here to discuss episode 19. So let's actually review the episode, and I'll dive deeper into my feelings as we go on, as always. So we already know that there's only 9 applicants left. Hanzo, Gon, Pakal, Killua, Gitarocker, Spodoro is, I think, the old guy's name, Kurapika, Hizoka, and Leorio. My pinky didn't want to stand up there. So those are the 9 applicants. We are in the final phase of the exam, finally. Chairman Netero has taken them to some hotel that the hunters have in this grand ballroom of sorts, is where the peculiar fight is going to be taking place that we really had no understanding over from last episode. Because how can a tournament be set up between 9 people, odd number, 1 win and you pass, and how does every person fight all the other applicants? Like, it makes no sense. But give it to Netero to find a solution. He presents the bracket to all the applicants and we can see all the matchups. In order to pass, you need to win only once. You are out of the tournament after that. And losers keep moving up the bracket until there is 1 loser remaining. That person is the only one eliminated. So we will have 8 hunters and 1 loser by the end of this tournament. Really sucks to be that 1 loser. So the matchups go as follows from the thing that we saw. Hanzo versus GON is match 1. Loser of that round faces Paco. Loser of that person faces Killua. Loser of that round faces Gitarocker. Then first round is Kurapika versus Hizoka. GON, you can see, looks over at Kurapika because GON knows Hizoka. He knows he's dangerous. He's faced off against him. And Kurapika just has his eyes closed, head down, as though he is like mentally preparing himself for going up against Hizoka. Like, okay, let's take a deep breath, knowing this is going to be like a real test. Loser of that will face Hodoro, and loser of that will face Leorio. So one of the first things you notice is some people have way more opportunities to win a round than others do. Like, GON goes first. Hypothetically, he has 5 chances to win, because if he lost every time, he goes up against Hanzo, then Paco, then Killua, then Gitarocker, and 1 more person from the other tree. Whereas like Killua, for example, only has 3 rounds. Leorio only has 2. So the contestants themselves realize this, but namely Killua does. He's like the most upset. Everybody brings it up and kind of like wants to know why, but Killua is like the one that's most upset about it. You can see Killua is like more jealous of the fact GON gets more chances than him, and he was placed better on the bracket. Because we know Killua compares himself to GON, they're the same age, they're friends, they've been together thus far, so they've like been able to directly compare themselves, you know, all the way back since like running through the tunnel, and they both passed the checkpoint at the exact same time. Like right from then and there, it's like they compared themselves to each other. So Killua like thinks of himself quite highly because of his background and everything. Kind of has an ego or an inflated confidence, which then leads to ignorance. So no one really has a big problem as much as Killua does. Like everybody's just like, okay, this is a format. It's not changing. Let's just go and fight. Killua is like the one that in his mind just keep being bothered by the fact that he was placed lower than GON. So Netero explains why the rankings are what they are. While he can't give the precise scores, he can divulge the reasonings and the methods behind it. So he says the bracket was formulated based on each applicant's performance thus far throughout the exam. Those who performed better receive more chances. So what does performance mean? That's what Killua really wants to know, because he wants to compare himself to everybody else, because he thinks there's no way GON performed better than him. Because Killua is thinking narrow-minded. It's not just physical attributes according to Netero. 3 things were considered according to Netero: physical strength, mental acuity, and overall impression. Physical strength is all about agility, flexibility, endurance, and perception. So think of the running in the tunnel, going after those spider eagle eggs, Gitarocker shape-shifting himself, all of Trick Tower, everything we saw in Trick Tower, etc. Mental acuity is an aggregate of resilience, adaptability, judgment, creativity. So again, think of Trick Tower and the majority rule and maneuvering that, trying to win that that betting mechanic that they had when they were fighting. Think of all of Zevel Island and the way you had to maneuver that around. GON tying butterflies to his fingers, leading him to Hizoka, the creativity behind that, using his fishing rod to get the badge. Killua knowing Hanzo was tracking him and like tricked Hanzo with the switcheroo of the badges, throwing them in different directions. Hizoka going up against the 4 blades guy. Leorio defeating Mashtani with that trick that he did to prove that if he was unconscious or not. It's all just a reference point according to Netero, because obviously everybody had to excel in these areas enough to even be able to make it here to the final phase in the first place. Although you can see just like how much GON, for example, really stood out from the pack on multiple occasions, like especially to Killua, as he's the one most upset over this method. Like if you're really going to compare GON and Killua shouldn't even be like arguing why GON is ranked higher than him, especially considering the third attribute, overall impression, the one Netero and the rest are most concerned with. He said, like, all intangible factors you can't categorize in the first two. So I assume this would be personality, your character, your morals and your ethics, your motivations, your emotions, what's driving you to become a hunter, who you are and where you come from, to where you are now and who you are now. And of course, the answers that all the applicants gave during their interviews with Netero, that directly goes into this. Like being asked who you have your eyes on most, who you don't want to fight with, and why you want to become a hunter. Netero describes this as their potential to be a hunter. This right here is what really upsets Killua, because he can't understand what it is about GON that they believe he has greater potential to be a hunter than Killua does. You see Killua have this inner monologue with himself that carries throughout the rest of this episode. So if you go into the tournament bracket, if the people who go up against first and have the most chances have the highest potential, then you can see that all of the hunters and Chairman Netero see GON, Hanzo, Hisoka, and Kurapika having the most potential to become a hunter because they have the most chances to win because they fight first. The people that he sees as having the least potential is Leorio, because Leorio only has 2 chances. Killua has 3 chances, and so on with the other people. I'm not really sure with them, but you can see that Leorio with 2, Killua with 3, Kurapika and GON and Hisoka with 5 chances. So you can see where they stack up against each other. But now we get into the rules of the tournament. They are rather strange, peculiar, in fact, as Netero himself said last episode, peculiarly fight, he is not kidding. Verging on the border of like fucked up once you see the tournament actually get underway. Like weapons are allowed, no cheating. You can only win if your opponent admits defeat. If you knock them unconscious, you do not win because they haven't surrendered. If you kill your opponent, you are disqualified. Being as though only one person can lose, if you're disqualified, that simply means everyone else wins and the tournament doesn't have to carry on. So this is really interesting twist on a tournament format, like especially the conditions to win. Like this entire thus far, they even said like if you kill anybody, it doesn't really matter. That's a part of the tournament. But right now you can't kill anybody. You must do everything you can to make your opponent surrender without killing them. So you can only imagine where this leads, as we saw when we watched the episode. So first up was GON versus Hanzo. We know GON's abilities, but not so much Hanzo. We haven't really seen a lot of him. This tournament is also really interesting because it's like the first time everybody sees everybody else's abilities or what everybody can do. Not everybody has seen what GON can do. Killua, Kurapika, Leorio, etc., what everybody can do. Only Hisoka really knows GON's capabilities. No one else is aware of Kurapika's Scarlet Eyes and the fact he's part of the Kurta clan. Nobody else is aware Killua is an assassin, as far as we know. It goes on. So that's super interesting. I always think about that in like superhero movies and stuff, like when everybody gets to see their capabilities and stuff. So before they begin, you see Hanzo greet the referee saying like, hey, nice to see you again. As Hanzo states he was aware that person was tailing him on Zephyr Island, as was every other applicant being tailed by a different hunter as well. So you gain the perception that Hanzo is very skilled and very aware. Like Kurapika was also aware of this, but like you would assume Kurapika would be aware of this. Like you're not surprised because we know Kurapika's personality. We don't know Hanzo's personality that much. Like GON was not aware at all. He had no idea. Neither did Leorio. So Hanzo asks one more time to make sure that you can only win if the other surrenders and gives up. It doesn't count if you knock them unconscious, and TKOs are not allowed, to which the answer the person says is that's all correct. So Hanzo realizes this means this fight could indeed be difficult, getting GON to surrender. He doesn't know much about GON, but he can probably, I think, just from the interactions and overall sentiments that everybody has towards GON, this is going to be hard because like getting GON to surrender is going to be no easy task. So Right when the fight starts, you're confident in Gon. He does his quick dash maneuver that we've seen before to try and create space between him and his opponent. But you see Hanzo just immediately catch up right beside him, like face to face, side by side. And in this slow motion animation that was super badass, honestly. I just thought that was so cool. And he just like, so you think you're pretty quick on your feet, huh? And right then and there, I knew this was going to be intense. And Hanzo just fucking hits the wind out of Gon, leaving him on the ground. And now your confidence in Gon kind of starts to dwindle, and worrisome replaces that confidence. So Killua is on the sideline commenting to himself how he could have dodged that attack himself, of course, with that massive sense of jealousy or anger and envy he has that Gon is supposedly seen as better than him by the other applicants and the chairman. So he just has this bad attitude right now, which I hope throughout that episode you realize, but it's like when you first start to see this from Killua, you're like, man, don't let this affect your friendship with Gon. Like, don't let this be the downfall between your friendship and the teamwork that you've had thus far. So that's what I'll be interested to see in the future as well. So this is where it starts to get fucked up because Hanzo starts trying to convince Gon to surrender. It's in his best interest to do so because he's going to do whatever it takes to have him surrender. Just give up now. You still have four more other chances to win if you surrender right here. But we know Gon, he says no, he's not going to surrender. So Hanzo just continues to strike down on him. And you just start to feel so uneasy and uncomfortable with the atmosphere and setting being created here under these circumstances. It becomes a physical fight alongside the realization you have with yourself that this is an even greater mental fight. Do you surrender so you're still in decent shape for the next fight, or do you persevere? Which one of them has the correct idea around how to approach this tournament style? Gon, who won't surrender no matter what, or Hanzo, who thinks he can force someone to surrender. Like, who has found the loophole here or the guaranteed to win strategy? You know, it's all about reading your opponent, knowing what you're willing to do and what they're willing to do. Hanzo wondering if Gon really won't surrender, and Gon betting on the fact that Hanzo is going to stop at some point. So Gon is just getting beaten down every time he tries to stand up or says that he won't give up. Hedoro even says, like, Hedoro said, like, he couldn't bring it upon himself to fight children. Hanzo's got no problem beating the fuck out of Gon to a fucking pulp. So Leorio starts pleading with Gon to give up so he can win the next fight. Kurapika stops Leorio saying, like, would you surrender if the roles were flipped? And Leorio's like, hell no, I wouldn't. So exactly, Gon, if you're not going to surrender, Gon's not going to surrender. So there's no point in trying to plead to him to do so. It's just a waste of breath. The only thing they can do is watch, hope, and see what happens. Like, and then you enter Kurapika's inner monologue. Kurapika said all that on the outside, but Kurapika wants him to surrender too. He doesn't say verbally, but he agrees with Leorio in the same way, but he understands it's all in Gon's hands. They can't do anything. So even the other hunters themselves start to realize how fucked up this tournament is. Like, Netero set up the tournament around the idea that you must force your foe to surrender in order to win by any means necessary without killing them. The only rule is don't kill them. All other rules, there are none. But those who have made it this far are not going to surrender that easily. The only rules are that the opponent has to consciously admit defeat. You know, this tournament is purposely set up to test not their combat ability, but their willpower. Knocking them unconscious, like, defeats that purpose. The question being asked, or the argument being presented, is not who can defeat who or who is more powerful than the other, but who wants it more. How bad do you really want it? How far are you willing to go on both sides? How much pain are you willing to endure? And conversely, how much pain are you willing to inflict? And that's fucked up. Everybody on the sidelines is horrified by this realization because Netero's decision is fucked up, and they all are going to have to step into the ring at some point too. And like, this is just well beyond a peculiar fight. So Hanzo just continues to just keep wailing on him. There is blood streaked all over the floor. Paco remarks that it's been over 3 hours. of Hanzo just beating Gon and Gon refusing to surrender. Gon can barely move at this point. Leorio just starts losing his temper. As we know, he's a very emotional person, you know, easily compromised. Especially considering the fact he owes a debt to Gon. We learned that in the last episode, and he wants him to pass. So seeing this just troubles him so much. Like, standing by, doing nothing to help is torturing him, just as he watches Gon being tortured. Like, that's not in Leorio's personality. Like, remember when Hisoka was fighting that group of people in the forest? Leorio couldn't bring it upon himself to not act upon that. So to not be able to do that with a friend Gon, let alone the strangers from before, that's like pure torture to him. Ironically, watching Gon get tortured, you know? So Leorio just yells out to Hanzo that he's gonna kill him and let Leorio take Gon's place instead. He'll fight Hanzo instead, but sadly, that's not a possibility. Hanzo knows the rules. As fucked up as it is, he's doing nothing wrong right now. He isn't killing him, and Gon isn't surrendering, so you just have to keep going. It is only going to get worse for Gon, Hanzo says, so leave if you can't bear to watch. And I'm just like, oh, fucking Jesus Christ, come on. Leorio's told, Leorio's told this. Leorio's told Gon will be disqualified if there is any interference by anybody. And you just feel for Gon so badly when you see him manage to stand up and whimper to Leorio not to worry, it's okay. This is nothing. He can take it. Don't do anything. To which, right as he mutters those words, Hanzo knocks him back down to the ground. And I can't even decide if I hate Hanzo or not during this whole thing, because I, of course, want Gon to win. I hate seeing him tortured like this, but it's not like Hanzo is doing anything objectively wrong. You know, both of them want to win. Hanzo is following the rules. It's not like Hisoka from the past who just kills when he wants to, starts fighting because he wants to fight, and just has a bloodlust for killing. This is a tournament, a closed environment. I don't like what Hanzo is doing, but I don't necessarily hate him in general. I was very mad internally at him, probably because mainly he wasn't doing anything wrong. Literally, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was doing what he must, and I'm more angry that he is even allowed to do that. Like, I want anybody and anyone to just go out and start beating up on Hanzo the same way he was doing at the GON, but they can't do that. And the most fucked up part of the episode came right after this. Like, happens right there. And I'm just thinking, God, how can this get any worse? Right as Hanzo says he's gonna break Gon's arm. And I'm just like, holy shit. I would have been out a long time ago if that were me, but the ultimate ultimatum would be having your arm forcibly broken. Like, dear fucking God. So, like, you even see Hisoka open his eyes and look towards the match. Like, he was looking to the side, closed eyes, he doesn't care. But upon hearing that, even Hisoka opens his eyes and looks towards the match. Not in a worried face, but more so out of curiosity. Like, is Gon gonna take it or not? Hisoka's like looking to see if Gon is really worthy, because that's the whole thing going on between Gon and Hisoka is, will he be impressed by what happens next or disappointed? And then you have Leorio and Kurapika show faces of absolute shock and terror as they're about to witness their friend and a child, get his arm broken. And then you have Killua be the stark contrast. Killua is just straight-faced because he isn't even looking at Gon like a friend anymore, but as his opponent or rival, because he's still upset over the ranking, watching Gon getting beaten up and tortured, assuming he will be defeated when he was ranked higher than him. Like, he's just thinking of the irony behind that, like just thinking, oh man, I could have defeated Hanzo, no problem. Why is he placed above me if he can't even beat in the first round, you know? So Gon again refuses to give up, leaving Hanzo no choice but to go through with his threat and break his left arm. And people are just like staring, like in disbelief. Even Paco remarks like he can't believe he actually really broke it. And this just makes the atmosphere so tense and so much more sinister. Like, you don't even admire Gon anymore in the moment because you're just so taken aback by what's actually happening. You're just enraged as Leorio and Kurapika are now. And That's what I really love. I'm gonna take a break from actually reviewing to just like give my thoughts on this. I really love that. This is what makes really amazing storytelling. Like, don't you just hate when you can tell that directors or writers like almost like think little of you? Like when you watch a movie and everything is explained to you or shown to you, it's like so predictable. You're two steps ahead of the movie or the show or whatever instead of the other way around. The movie's trying to keep up with the audience instead of you keeping up with the movie. And they don't want to put you through too much or make you try or make you think. And the plot suffers as a result of that. And you suffer too as the audience. So, like, when you know the villain is going to be defeated or the protagonist is going to win or the protagonist, oh, they're just going to come out clean and unscathed, nothing really at stake. So, and you're watching and thinking to yourself, man, I wish this happened instead. That would have been better, etc. Like things that don't make sense or plot holes or whatever, just to like make the movie a more easy experience. And you can just tell you're bored and unengaged. And then there are the writers and the directors that give the audience the benefit of the doubt. They know the audience can keep up, so don't give it to them easy. They know they can keep up and they can put up with what's thrown at them. And like take Christopher Nolan, for example, like considered one of the greatest directors of our time. He doesn't dial down his storytelling in his movies like Inception, Interstellar, Tenet that just came out, etc., to let the audience keep up. He knows we want this challenge both intellectually and emotionally, so give it to us. We can keep up. And I feel the same way here, the way that the show's presented in terms of plot, but also in emotions. Like Tagashi tells the story he wants to tell in his manga. He doesn't cater to anyone. Like if Gon never went through these trials and tribulations and actually experienced defeat and pain, he wouldn't be a captivating character and we wouldn't be attached to him or see ourselves in him. Like Tagashi was aware of that feeling for the audience, and I love that. He naturally made Leorio and Kurapika reflect the same emotions he knew the audience would be having as well. So, Leorio tells Kurapika not to stop him. If Hanzo does anything else to Gon, he won't be able to stop himself, no matter how bad he feels for Gon that he's going to be disqualified, but he won't stand by any longer. And Kurapika's like, you talking to me? Like, you stop you? No chance. And you see his eyes start to turn that scarlet red because he's so emotionally compromised at what he is witnessing. Both of them are so overcome with anger and rage. Like, it's so interesting. When I have thought this entire time of Kurapika as being the level-headed one, the most balanced, brains over brawn, but he does have intense emotions. Like, he keeps them at bay, but seeing someone he cares about and sees as a friend get tortured like this, those emotions can't be contained at that point. Was also interesting to hear more about Hanzo's backstory. I like that we're like again where the dialogue helps and it's not just straight up action and screaming and fists and shit. So to learn why he's so disciplined, where his education and his training derives from, why he is who he is, stating that he's a descendant of the shinobi. He's undergone strict training his entire life since birth in order to master the art of ninpo. He knows nothing else but this life. We learn he's 18 years old because for that many years he's trained his body and his technique with no rest, and saying like by the time he was Gon's age he already had blood on his hands and he's killed before. So you learn that what he is doing is nothing to him, like it's no sweat, and that Gon just cannot defeat him in combat. The same sentiment Hisoka gave him in the past. Gon just isn't strong enough to defeat certain people. But as Hanzo even said, in combat though, Gon has other ways. So Hanzo's pretty cocky at this point, tries to tell him to admit defeat, but before he can even finish that sentence, Gon leaps up instantaneously and kicks Hanzo straight in the face. Fuck yeah, surprising everyone. And the atmosphere and the tension changes. You're caught by surprise just as much and as just as quickly as the characters are. Again, Tagashi is great at being aware of the audience and reflecting us through the audience as to feel a part of the story in almost like a first-person sense. So he does that, but like Gon is just struggling to stay up. But he has his wits about him again. His head is cleared. He's had enough time to regain after all that pain and blabbering. Gon gains his confidence back, saying if like If Hanzo's 18, he's only 6 years older than he is. They are not far apart. And besides, he says what I said before. This isn't a battle to see who's stronger, it's to see who's willing to surrender first. Gon may not be stronger, but he has his senses. He knows how to get around Netero's tournament and win with the greatest probability. All he has to do is not surrender, which to him is easier than trying to get someone else to surrender, you know? I completely forgot weapons were even allowed in this fight. When Hanzo unsheathed the blade from his arm, I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? I forgot that's allowed. Like, why isn't Gon using his fishing rod? I guess he just wanted to do it all on his own, I guess. So Hanzo again warns Gon he's gonna cut off his legs. Like, Hanzo is trying to make it known more than effort. He means business and is as serious as can be. But Hanzo has most likely also never encountered someone so stubborn and willing who doesn't give up to him. He's probably never had to go up against someone so not intimidated by him. So like Gon matches that energy and that mental game by calmly asserting that he's not gonna that if he does so, there will be a problem for both of them. You know, so like this surprises everybody. Like the guy just said that, like, because like what kind of kid are you to argue against somebody who just threatened to cut off your legs? Like, nobody could predict this level of confidence, stubbornness, and like naivety, whatever you want to call it. It works. Gon's just like, I don't want my legs cut off, but I don't want to surrender even more. So either do it because I'm not surrendering, or let's find a different way to fight. And this just enrages Hanzo because, like I said, he isn't used to having to deal with a person like Gon. Like, what is wrong with this kid? Does he not understand the terms here and what I just threatened him with? But that's because he's thinking logically. Logically, you would give up because you value your legs and your life more than winning. He has the upper hand in combat, but he doesn't have the same stubbornness as Gon. And you can't logically dissect that in your head. So the atmosphere in the room just like lightens up as Hisoka, Hidoro, everybody really just starts to giggle and laugh because of what they're watching is like so preposterous. Like, this grown adult who just bragged about himself with a blade in his hands is getting mentally challenged and shut down by a 12-year-old with a broken arm who's just not budging or giving up. So Gon says he knows Hanzo is serious about cutting off his legs, but he still won't surrender. So Hanzo fails to realize Gon will die on this hill, quite literally. If he cuts off his legs, he will bleed out and die, therefore he will be disqualified. So Hanzo can't believe Gon is actually putting getting disqualified and dying on the same level playing field. Like, he puts that on the same level. The only one left confused is Killua because he feels the situation hasn't changed. Gon still isn't stronger than Hanzo, but Killua only sees physical strength as being the primary merit behind Netero's ranking and doesn't understand that Gon's perseverance and tenacity are some of the exact intangible features that Netero said earlier and what Netero meant that gives him the greater potential to be a hunter. So this is where Hanzo's getting like real serious here. He lunges his blade at Gon's head, stopping just before it pierces him, drawing only a little bit of blood on his forehead. And Gon doesn't even fucking budge a millimeter, dude. Total badass. Gon is calling his bluff, but Hanzo isn't calling Gon's. Gon is playing the game whether Hanzo is really willing to kill him and be disqualified, or just give up and wait for a less stubborn opponent who will surrender more easily, you know? Like, while Hanzo is playing the game that he can just simply make Gon surrender, Hanzo has no leverage. Killua is still naive. Like, he says to himself in the end, it all comes down to ability. And when he says that, we can tell it's a foreshadowing in a sense to what might happen, that Gon is going to prove that opinion wrong. And it just becomes a face-off at this point. Both of them staring at each other intensely, and it's just so interesting to break down in your head in real time and try and keep up with everything, to have that reaction time, to try and process all that information in real time. Like, Gon is literally betting on his life, like betting his life on the line. Hanzo is not betting anything near just as heavy. So yes, they are not on equal footing, but it's the other way around. Gon is literally willing to bet to get his legs cut off or get killed because he is not going to surrender. Gon has stronger motives than Hanzo. To Hanzo, it is just a sentence. Like, just say you surrender. He can always try again next year. Gon exclaims he's going to see his father. His father is a hunter, and he entered the exam to be able to become a hunter as well, just like his father, and to see him one day. He will find him someday, but it feels like if he gives up right now and surrenders, he's never going to find him. So if he doesn't show this amount of determination right now, how can he ever expect to have the same amount of determination to find his father in the future? Again, this is the intangible reasoning Netero is talking about. His first question asked, again, remember, why do you want to become a hunter? Many probably answered that question for superficial reasons, whereas Gon wants to become a hunter to find his father and learn why his father abandoned him. There's no motive greater than that. It is like right then and there, Hanzo really looks into Gon's eyes and sees that unwavering determination. He realizes it was never about anything logical. You can't counter illogic with logic. There was no winning from the start, and he just realized that now. So Hanzo concedes defeat because he knows this isn't going anywhere. Gon didn't even want him, and then just as Hisoka in the past, Gon didn't even want him to surrender like this. Like, this wasn't even his tactic. Gon wasn't even playing mind games with Hanzo. Gon is so naive and so innocent that all he wanted was a better way to play that didn't involve death or punishment to either of them. He actually still wanted to fight. So, like, getting Hanzo to surrender like this wasn't even the plan. So then, Gon, because of this, won't accept Hanzo's surrender. He wants to fight fair. He broke the system and doesn't even realize it. Or he does realize it, but just as with Hisoka, he wants to win fair, even though this is technically fair, because both of them followed the same rules. Hanzo admits he can't kill Gon, but since he won't surrender, there's nothing he can do. He'd rather try his luck in the next match, which is smarter anyways, because if you go by the tournament bracket, his next matchup would be against Pakal anyways, a much higher likely victory than with Gon. So I think at this point, Hanzo respects Gon greatly. He won't even accept his victory because he doesn't like winning like this. But Hanzo is trying to get through Gon's head. Like, he's already given up on this match. Stop trying to argue with me. He's not going to seriously fight Gon just because Gon wants to feel good about winning. That's a waste of time because Gon can't win. So there's no way to feel good about winning. The two are just stuck between a rock and a hard place. So if anything, Hanzo's being the bigger man here and just giving up, you know? And Hanzo's just tired. Hanzo explodes and just uppercuts Gon, sending him flying. Again, reminiscent and similar to the whole Hisoka dynamic. So he twists the rules in a smart way. He can't knock out Gon to win, but he can knock out Gon to lose. If Gon is unconscious, he's not awake to stop Hanzo from giving up on himself, which he does. He tells the exam committee, however, that when Gon wakes up, be prepared. He's not going to want to accept the victory because he is stubborn. But as Netero said, only one person can lose each round. And if Hanzo surrenders and willingly takes that loss, there is no way Gon should be or can be disqualified, as it would taint the rest of the tournament, and everything else onwards would be literally for nothing. So they must give Gon a passing judgment when he wakes up, and he has to take it. So Gon passes due to Hanzo's concession, and how fitting is that really for the entire story thus far? Gon, number 405, the last to enter the hunter exam, is the first to finish and pass the exam and become the first hunter of the group. Just wow, how fitting that is in storytelling terms. Now I really just want to get into this next episode right away, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to say right now, that's all I got for my discussion right here. On to the next episode. If you enjoyed the video, leaving a like to let me know is awesome. If you want to keep up with all future content from me, be sure to subscribe to stay in the loop. Keep the conversation going down in the comments so I can connect with y'all more and build this community. You know that's the most important thing to me. Check out my Instagram for my photography and a more personal side, and follow if you'd like. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, farewell, until next time, thank you, be happy, and I hope you have a good one. Peace.